They consider themselves an NBA writing reporter, and I like to say the word consider.
Mm-hmm.
Or the perception is, as I told Christian Winfield, perception is what people have. This is what they think that they are. That's fine. But this person sent out a tweet in which they said that they, the reporter, asked a source in the NBA front office what he thinks Russell Westbrook's value is, and then posted a quote. And the quote says, probably the second worst contract in the league behind Wall. Now, I want to relay this to people as Bryan told this to me. Bryan's telling me this story moments before this podcast. He tells me the story, and immediately in my head, I said, I heard this before. And I knew I didn't read it. I had heard it before this week. But that is from Zach Lowe's Low Post podcast. Podcast I'm a fan of. I listen to all the time. And a lot of NBA junkies, like myself, will listen to that as well. But he was talking about him having talked to Russell, about Russell Westbrook to another person. And the person said that it was probably the second worst contract in the league behind John Wall. Here's the thing. Is it possible that this same person talked to the exact same executive? Possibly, in my opinion, not likely. Okay? Possibly not likely at all whatsoever. And this, it appears, and Bryan's trying to say with his fucking face, it appears that this, I'm doing air quotes so people can't see, reporter jacked this quote from what Zach Lowe talked about.
Look, people need to stop bullshitting. All right, like that's basically
Here
what
comes
it is.
the anger.
It's like no, it's we're in April. All right, we're heading into a dangerous time.
Yes, we are.
We're heading into a dangerous time on the internet where a lot of people are going to start fabricating reports and start putting bullshit out there so that other people can think that they have sources, that they're plugged in, that they're doing the reporting that we know the people who are actually doing the reporting are doing, like a Woj or a Chris Haynes or our boy Mike Scotto or our boy Ian Begley or friend of the show Howard Beck or Zach Lowe, for example, right? And there's a lot of other people who are trying to get in the game. Respect that you're trying to get in the game. I get it. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Right? You want to be a newsbreaker. You want to be plugged in. Sure. But why don't you get in the game by actually getting in the game as opposed to acting like you're getting in the game? You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, a lot of people just want to be famous. There's this overwhelming rush to be famous for whatever it is they want to do, and they just want the recognition, and they just want to, I don't know, send their tweets out to a whole bunch of different accounts so then those NBA retweet accounts could retweet them so then they could get popular. We're just seeing a lot of lying going on now, and I need consumers to be smarter. I need consumers to actually work just a little bit harder, just to understand that, a lot of this is bullshit. And a lot of these people that people are listening to and people are writing their aggregation posts about, that people are sort of getting their news source from and trying to throw into their group chats and being like, oh, is this true? Is this not? Listen, man, when you hear from one of maybe 10 people, you'll know. Because the agents, the executives, the scouts, the GMs, the players, they've decided who they're going to give their news to for the most part. Occasionally, you'll get somebody like me who breaks something. Occasionally. I'm not a newsbreaker, but I've broken news before. Mm-hmm. I know what that feeling is like. They're trying to. So let's get that straight, right? So we have all these people. They've decided who the sort of gatekeepers are. People are feeding things to Woj and Shams and Chris Haynes and Ian Begley, and they trust them. Those are the good reporters that have been doing it for a long time. Mm-hmm. So the other people trying to get in the game, look, I get it, but you have to be good at this before you can be popular. And that's what a lot of people are losing sight of now.
But see, it's dangerous because those people are very aware of the power of how easily they can put a quote out and what can happen there. What is interesting is, and somebody commented on the tweet and said the podcast was put out before the tweet by a well-respected reporter. Sounds rather similar to the tweet. That's really, really awful, to put it mildly. I would say yes, that is putting it mildly. It is stealing. Like I said, I will say that there is a possibility that this so-called reporter definitely talk to the same source. However, if you were
Not given his track record.
yeah, that matters. However, if respected reporter Zach Lowe comes out with something first, then you need to attribute that. Even if you heard it from the same, hey, I heard the same thing. Because you could easily do this and say, nobody would question as much. I heard the same thing from a similar source that Zach Lowe said in his podcast. Think about how different that tweet plays.
Yeah.
Now you're just like, oh, well, I'm just saying I heard the same thing too.
Even then would be like, really?
Maybe, but
sometimes
sometimes things come out.
Oh no, I'm saying in this case.
Yeah, I could say this for sure. There are things that have come out that I've heard from other people and other sources around a bunch of things in sports, and then I see it reported by somebody else, and I'm like, oh, I knew that already.
That happens to me with net stuff.
That
actually happens to me with net stuff a good amount.
There's stuff with the Nets and different information that we have from sources in there. There's stuff from different team and people I know around certain things.
That happens to me with boxing and MMA a lot.
And it happens.
Yeah.
But you don't discredit and act like you got it on your own.
See,
that's what's wrong.
That's this rush to show everybody like, oh, I'm plugged in. People are coming to me. I'm one of the gatekeepers now. I'm one of the first people to get news and things like that. When people don't want to focus on just doing a good job anymore.
Well, here's the thing. I keep saying the fake always gets exposed. The ones who aren't being real, they'll always be exposed.
My concern is it's taking too long for some people. Some people have been here for they've worn out their welcome. But again, we are going into a dangerous time this summer. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens in July. We're gonna see what happens in July because the NBA, the transactions are heavy in July. There's going to be a lot of reporting, and not all of it's going to be good, and not all of it's going to be accurate.
See, here's the thing. All the people that report the stuff we're talking, let's say, well, forget even July. Let's talk about late June. Let's get before the draft and right up to the beginning of free agency for the NBA. All these people that are going to be putting out these reports and some of these fake reports, they will be exposed to. We have seen in the last year several people talk about before last year where LeBron was going to go, what LeBron was going to do. Now this is shifted over into KD, and there'll be other people doing it, acting as though they know. What's interesting is there have already been some of those people who's been proven that they don't know what they're talking about. Now, for those people that I think what you're talking about is, well, there's still people following them. There's still people looking at their tweets every day. There's still people doing this and that. I want to say a little bit of what you said. Those people, I don't think understand what good sourcing is in terms of news. So maybe they don't want to go to the Wojs, the Zach Lowe's, because I think there's a difference I've started to notice between the kind of person you're mentioning that's putting out the fake news and the people who aren't. The difference is the people that are putting out the fake news, you know what they do a little bit more with the people that follow them? They interact with them a little bit more. And they let those fans feel that they're somewhat accessible.
Yep.
And those people like that because now they feel like they're closer to the end. Whereas Woj, Zach Lowe, or Howard Beck, or Ian Begley, and other friends, they just do their job. They interact with fans, but they don't have the time to do it on that fake level these other people do. You know why? Because they're working.
Yeah.
They're really working. They're really doing their jobs, right? They're not out here just playing. When you're playing games, and you're talking about where people are going to go and, insiders, you're talking about secret meetings and all this stuff that didn't happen and you're making this stuff up.
Yeah.
You ain't working. You're not plugged in. This is what's happening. So my thing is the people that are paying attention to that for the most part are the people that they want something more out of that social media experience. And that's why they're going there. They're not like you and I, where we're following Woj or Zach Lowe or Howard Beck and these guys because we want to find out the real information. We want the information first. We want it accurate. There's people that value it.
I don't need it.
There's people that don't.
I don't need to have it first.
There's people who don't value it.
Yeah, it's just the level of insecurity.
I don't. You know what? It's laughable to me. I don't.
It is.
I don't think.
But it's also dangerous for some of us who are doing this work, honestly.
Does it really take away from the real, though? That's
because some people don't take the time out to really differentiate the two.
But they will be lost in the end, right?
But they're not lost yet. So until they're lost,
what makes you think they're not lost now? They're already lost.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can save that person. I don't know if I care to save that person.
It's going to be very...
I don't think it affects the real journalism that's going out until you have... I guess I understand fundamentally what you're saying is that those people can then spread more fake news. That's not necessarily good for that.
It gives people
community.
more reason to hate the media. You know
That's
what I'm
fair.
saying?
Like that's fair. I see that. I definitely see that.
Because I know how much I put into this, right? I'm not trying to be a newsbreaker, but I'm saying I know how much I
Right.
put into digital media, all the things that I'm doing. And if certain other people are going to do things that's going to take away from what I'm doing, then we're going to have a problem.
You know what's funny? You know
what I'm
what's
saying?
funny? I'd like to. I don't remember if we had asked this person here, but I'd like somebody who's done a little bit of news breaking or is kind of pushing into the world, like our boy Michael Scotto. Somebody who's kind of moving up in that space.
Him and I have talked about
right,
this.
and it's interesting.
Howard Beck and I have talked
because
about this.
because those are the people that are even more directly affected. I laugh at it. I think it's nonsensical. I think the people that follow those people, I think I said it speaks for themselves.
That's why it's like,
but
yeah.
Look, Brian's right about one thing. It's about to be that season where there's going to be
hashtag
a lot.
Sources season.
Sources season.
Yes, SZN.
Like I said, it's laughable to me. I just understand the season's coming. I'm waiting to have more comedy. And when the ridiculous comes up, I think you do have to expose the ridiculousness. I have no problem doing that.
Which is why we're talking about it now.
And this is why
that's another issue is not enough people want to call out certain things.
And
by not enough people, I mean like there are regular people like fans on Twitter, like things like that, like they'll call it out. But I'm talking about other reporters, other media members should call this out.
I agree.
Should call this bullshit out.
I agree.
Honestly.
I agree. You got to call it out.